Okay, decided to do this in the car. This is my first video on A Course in Miracles, and I thought that I was going to do it in, in Starbucks, but there's a lot of crazy people talking about repentance and stuff. So, again, wherever we go, we find aspects of ourselves that are going to show us what we still have to heal within ourselves. So I picked up, I'm Ananda, and I am the moderator and the administrator and the founder of Course in Miracles Forum that I used to have on the web back in the early 2000, I guess it was 1999 that I started doing this. And I've been a student and a teacher of A Course in Miracles for about 25 years now. And I have a path that is really about teaching people how to be self-realized, to awaken the God I am. And many years ago, I realized that I was living a path that was very different from everybody else. And not until I found the Course in Miracles did I realize that that was me, that was my life. And I feel like I was the one that channeled A Course in Miracles, because it was like when I picked up the book, I felt like I was home. I felt like I was back in the state of being that I was so used to. And it's just such a beautiful, beautiful book. There's so much in it that it's absolutely divine. I mean, it's poetry, it's brilliance, it's metaphysics, it's religion in some sense, it's spirituality, it's everything. And I've basically walked into many, many different possibilities in study. And this one is the one that just makes sense to me. When I decided to do this, I decided that I would do hopefully a weekly live video, which I have to learn how to do. I haven't done that yet, so I'm just going to record this one and see what happens. I'd like to do something that adds a chat room and stuff like that, so people can participate and be more of a sharing rather than a teaching, that everybody would have an opportunity to share what they've come to realize and ask questions and stuff. And I'm quite intuitive, and I help people see the blocks that are keeping them in disease on all different levels. So when we're doing this, I would be honored and humbled to allow the power within me, the spirit within me, the knowing within me to come forth and help you on your path. I also do one-on-one sessions and group sessions, and I travel. If you wanted to do something in your locale, I would be happy to be there. Anyhow, when I do A Course in Miracles, I like to start from this section, which is in the Teacher's Manual, because that's what I did when I first picked up A Course in Miracles. I was guided to the Teacher's Manual. That's not that it's anything better. They're all equal. There's the text, there's the workbook, and then there's the Teacher's Manual. But the Teacher's Manual for me was simple. It was just so easy to because it's very, very itemized and very, very direct in its approach to understanding the concepts in A Course in Miracles. So I always go to the Teacher's Manual, and it's section 5, and it's called How is Healing Accomplished? And I think that if anyone were to get this section, that they would absolutely understand what this life is all about, why we're here, and how to awaken the God I am, and how to live in the bliss of being one with God. I'm going to breeze through it a little bit. Little background, I've been physically teaching Course in Miracles for approximately 25 years. Had an awakening in 1994, which dramatically changed my life. I was never the same after that moment. If you believe in the third eye, my third eye was bigger than life. I was seeing things that I never dreamed, seeing spirits. I was seeing, I was levitating. What gurus talk about now is what I experienced back then. And so I haven't believed in the concept of the medical community as far as doctors and stuff. So I haven't been to a doctor for about 25 years. And that means that I have worked through everything through my understanding, through the beauty that came through me, because I was channeling higher thought for a very long time. And so much so that now science is validating, new science, epigenetics, quantum physics, I mean, is totally in alignment with A Course in Miracles. Dr. Bruce Lipton was he gave me the stamp of approval with his book, Biology of Belief, because I knew at that point that what I was experiencing and doing with my body and other bodies were changing lives. And so the science said, yep, you got it right. And later on in my path, I met him in Orlando a couple of years ago. It seemed like it was, by chance, but it was so amazing how we met. And maybe another video I'll get into that. But anyway, so I've had broken limbs. I've had different physical realities that would require, by most people, a physician. But I kept on hearing throughout this process over and over again that, the physician is within. Jesus came to me often. He made that aspect I call Jesus or the Christ or Yahshua, made my life a lot easier because he made me understand the true meaning of a lot of the Bible, and a lot of the New Testament. So it was really profound. Anyhow, so because of my life experience with all of this, I decided to, skim through the Teacher's Manual in A Course in Miracles, and I found this section. And as I said, and I gave my glasses up 6 years ago, and I don't do glasses, and this is what I'm reading, and most people goof on me because I squint, but I'd rather squint than wear a pair of glasses at this stage of my reality. So it says, how is healing accomplished? And it says healing involves an understanding of what the illusion of sickness is for. Healing is impossible without this. And then it goes in to say the perceived purpose of sickness. Healing is accomplished the instant the sufferer no longer sees any value in pain. Who would choose suffering unless he thought it brought him something, and something of value to him? He must think it a small price to pay for something of greater worth. For sickness is an election, a decision. Now I'm going to stop there because I'm guided to. Who would, in right mind, in the ego, would say that they're choosing to be sick, and I've heard this over and over again. Come on, Ananda, are you joking me? That did not happen because I made it happen. That happened because I had an accident. That happened because I have spinal problems. That happened because my mother had cancer, So, this has been an ongoing challenge for me. It is the choice of weakness in the mistaken conviction that it is strength. When this occurs, real strength is seen as threat and health as danger. So, it's really funny because, again, it's very hard for me because I live in my own little world, and for most, they can't relate to the fact that, that they could give up sickness. I'm sick. You don't understand. I have diabetes. You don't understand. I have cancer. You don't understand whatever. Course is very clear. It doesn't matter if it's cancer or a headache. It's still an illusion. It's still a mental construct. And Course says that all disease is a cry for love. I said that to somebody the other day. She said, my water broke in the house. And I laughed because, to me, it's funny. My water pipe broke in the house, and I had to have my husband and his brother and the family come and fix it. And they're such good people. And I said, oh, sweetheart, you got some emotion tied up in you. And, it's really sad, you feel that you need a little bit extra love. And she absolutely went insane. What are you talking about? My pipe was old. Anyway. So, again, I'm not mocking it. It's just, for me, it's funny because I understand that it's all man-made. All right, so we're going to go to sickness is a method conceived in madness for placing God's Son on his Father's throne. God is seen as outside, fierce and powerful, anger to keep all power for himself. Could you imagine me reading this at that table? There must be at least 15 young people that are talking about Jesus and repentance. Anyway, only by his death can he be conquered by his Son. And what in the insane conviction does healing stand for? It symbolizes the defeat of God's Son and the triumph of his Father over him. It represents the ultimate defiance in a direct form which the Son of God is forced to recognize. It stands for all that he would hide from himself to protect his life. If he is healed, he is responsible for his thoughts. And if he is responsible for his thoughts, he will be killed to prove him how weak and pitiful he is. But if he chooses death himself, his weakness is his strength. Now has he given himself what God would give to him, and thus entirely usurped the throne of his Creator. Profound. Absolutely profound. So now we go into the next part. This is chapter 2 of this section. And this is called the shift in perception. And for those that don't know, or that those that do know, we'll say it again, a miracle is a shift in perception. It has nothing to do with supernatural and, all that jazz. It's about you changing your perspective from one vantage point and understanding to another. So here it goes on to say, healing must occur in exact proportion to which the valuelessness of sickness is recognized. One need but say, there is no gain in all this to me, and he is healed. But to say this, one must first recognize certain facts. First, it is obvious that decisions are of the mind, not of the body. If sickness is but a faulty problem-solving approach, it is a decision. I had a philosophy teacher in college that was so friggin' awesome, and his mentor was Albert Ellis, and it was so friggin' profound because it was really A Course in Miracles, and you change your mind, you basically change your world. And it's a decision in every moment to have a self-realized life or be a victim of a mindset that was given to you from the ones that came before you. Anyway, so, and if it is a decision, it is the mind and not the body that makes it. The resistance to recognizing this is enormous because the existence of the world as you perceive it depends on the body being the decision maker, not the body. The body doesn't tell me what I think. I tell the body. I make the circumstances. I design this body to be exactly what I think it to be. Terms like instincts, reflexes, and the like represent attempts to endow the body with non-mental motivators. Actually, such terms merely state or describe the problem. They do not answer it. The acceptance of sickness as a decision of the mind for a purpose for which it would use the body is the basis of healing, and this is so for healing in all forms. A patient decides that this is so, and he recovers. If he decides against recovery, he will not be healed. And here I want to stop again, because this is when you read that epigenetics is all about this as well, that when a person is on their way to a doctor, they have either decided to remain ill or they decided to heal. And the doctor is basically just the confirmation. They used to say in Christianity years ago, you need 3, confirmations of the Holy Spirit, Oh, that happened, and oh, it's true then, And this is basically the same thing. So if you go into a doctor without a healed mind, you're not going to get well. So the doctor is just a prop used in the play called I'm sick and I'm dying, the script, to validate that or make a miracle happen, and you transcend it and rise above the body and you're well again. All right, so if he decides against recovery, he will not be healed. Who is the physician? Only the mind of the patient himself. If you get nothing else from this tonight, please contemplate this, because it is so profound and it relates to everything in physical reality. Only the mind of the patient himself. That's the physician. Who is the physician? The outcome is what he decides that it is. Special agents seem to be ministering to him, yet they but give form to his own choice. And there we go again. The surgeon fixed my bones. Really? And some gurus, there's Ananda, who's an angel. I like to watch him because he's me. With all these devotees. I'm here in the car alone, but he is an aspect of me that really gets it. And he says, but sometimes you got to go to the hospital if you got a broken bone. He still doesn't get it yet. He chooses then in order to bring tangible form to his desires. And it is this they do and nothing else. They are not actually needed at all. And that was my experience with the leg. And anybody who knows me, and the people that probably could validate this aren't on Facebook, so they couldn't. But I fell off. I was doing a yoga with one of my students, a male, and he was walking in front of me. It's a 3-foot wall. We were walking the causeway, which I used to walk every day. And I have an issue with following the male, even though I'm aware that it's all an illusion. But the men have always been my saviors and my supporters. And so I had just left a relationship, and I'm following my student, and he loses his balance, and I fall off and I break my leg. It wasn't just a break, it was a crack. And I fell and went into a lotus position and screamed that this is an illusion, and I went into all kinds of craziness. But needless to say, I sat there for an hour, and he just watched me because that's what he knew he had to do. And eventually he helped me up, and we got in the car, and my ankle was the size of a football. And part of my leg was completely, dislocated. And, of course, I refused to do anything with it. And within, I guess, I believed in time, so it took me 3 months before I saw it normal. The next day was Thanksgiving, and I remember I had a broom under my arm, and I started cooking dinner for him and me. So it was very lovely. But the reality is that for me, and people say, but Ananda, come on, you're not a kid anymore. You're going to get sick. And I'm like, if it happens in your presence, just let me go. Because I do not believe in anything outside of myself bringing me anything. I know it's me. And I tell you, that knowing in itself has transformed physical reality for me in so many respects. And again, I'm really out there, so I understand that people might challenge this. And please, when you've watched this video, if you feel any need to write me, to question me, to challenge me, please, I am open to that, because the more that I'm challenged, the more I know I need to look within and see what it is that's challenging me to have you challenge me. All right, so again, let's go back to this. And it is that they do and nothing else. And they're just validating what you feel. They are not actually needed at all. The patient could merely rise up without their aid and say, I have no use for this. There is no form of sickness that would not be cured at once. What is the single requisite for this shift in perception or miracle? It is simply this, the recognition that sickness is of the mind and has nothing to do with the body. How do you feel about that? Seriously, think about that. How does that feel to you? To me, it's like, oh my God! But to most people, it's like, get the f out of here. What does the recognition cost? It costs the whole world you see. For the world will never again appear to rule the mind. For with this recognition is responsibility placed where it belongs, not with the world, but on him who looks on the world and sees it as it is not. He looks on what he chooses to see, no more and no less. The world does nothing to him. He only thought it did. Nor does he do anything to the world, because he was mistaken about what it is. Herein is the world, because he was mistaken about what it is. Okay, I'm sorry. Herein is the release from guilt and sickness, both for they are one. Sickness both, for they are one. So that's for guilt and sickness, because guilt and sickness are one. And that's what they say, that again, I do a lot of cause to help people see why they have the manifested physical of the cause that they think, and they say that arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, the pains all over the body is guilt. I'm feeling guilty about not being great or not being loving or not being whatever, so you cause yourself physical pain. Yet to accept the release, the insignificance of the body must be an acceptable idea. With this idea is pain forever gone. But with this idea goes also all confusion about creation. Does not this follow of necessity? Place cause and effect in their true sequence in one respect, and the learning will generalize and transform the world. The transfer value of one true idea has no end or limit. The final outcome of this lesson is the remembrance of God. What do guilt and sickness, pain, disaster, and all suffering mean now? Having no purpose, they are gone, and with them also all the effects they seem to cause. Cause and effect but replicate creation. Seen in their proper perspective, without distortion and without fear, they re-establish heaven. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link to a free PDF of A Course in Miracles, where you can access this section yourself in the teacher's manual, and it is just breeze through it. I guess it's the 5th chapter in that section, and again, hopefully this will be the beginning of many that I want to do, because I'm really excited about the fact that I'm really getting it to a point that I can't keep quiet anymore. And I went back into the body for a while, and I saw that there was a lot of pain and suffering, and I understood that it was my ideas that were bringing that into being. So I really need to do this to stay on the true path of self-actualization. And I know that there are many out there that are where I am, and just looking for the tribe mentality that we can help enlighten the world as a group. It's just me, and I live in a community of people that are not like-minded, and it's almost like I'm an alien here, and it's foreign for most people to be in my presence. They can only do it for just so long. And I'm humbled by my essence. I'm humbled by the truth that became me and that I live. But it's not an easy path, because I'm still in the material realm, and I still have a body that I wear and I play with, as far as redesigning it in every moment and making it exactly what I feel that would be representative of the teaching that I live and I assume. Anyway, I love you all. I'm so grateful that you're a part of Course in Miracles Forum, and I hope that I've touched an aspect of the one in the group that needed to hear this, and that they will transform because of this experience tonight here. And again, the next time we do this, I hope that it's live, and I hope we have an opportunity to do more of a sharing and a community-like interaction, where that everyone is teaching and learning. So have a beautiful night, and this is the beginning of like a new venture for all of us. So I love you. Have a great night. Bye.